Hi, and welcome to the part 3 of Teachings of Healing. And today we're going to talk about the conditional love, where our wounded self is not even aware of our disconnection to our higher self or our core self. But the question is, how do you start actually looking for what the core wound is? Do you know that? Well, through my education as a therapist, I've been taught that, well, look at what has happened to you through your life. But that doesn't really heal stuff, does it? It just makes you sometimes feel even worse, because then you are coming to the forefront of what is actually your life's realities and what has happened to you, and what you have allowed happen to you, and also what you have invited in. That could be somewhat of a good thing, but in my opinion, not really in the long run. And I think actually because we have had for for many years now went through therapy, or at least some of us have, I actually think that could have hurt us even more, because we didn't get the tools to get out of it, to really get into that core wound. Well, yeah, maybe we can get to the core wound of us, for instance, feeling rejected or abandoned, which is some of my deepest wounds. But it's not really helpful other than paying attention to it and being aware of it. But it doesn't dig me out of the hole. Well, yes, then I can feel my feelings, and how does it feel to be abandoned, and where do I abandon myself, and where have I been abandoned by others, and where do I keep repeating that cycle of being abandoned because I don't have the feeling of being worthy of love, or something like that. But that is I'm sorry to say, a beep cycle, right? It's not good for you. It's not loving, and it's certainly not healing. It might give you some perspective, but what actually gives you perspective can trigger you even more and traumatize you even more. And then you get really screwed up, right? And feel really bad. And then there's a belief in society that, well, it has to be good before, it has to be bad before it can gets good. No, not necessarily. No, not true at all. So what have really helped me, and that is what I want to share with you today. What really has helped me is looking at my natal chart. I went to the stars, I went to the planet, I went to the astrology. But I didn't go to an astrologer. I just used some of the free tools out there that some are good, some are not that good. But it gave me a perspective, because then I started researching, what does that actually mean for me? What is a planet placement in Taurus in the 12th house actually mean? Because I'm a Taurus, and I have my sun in the 12th house. What does that actually mean? Well, it means that I, for instance, you can't really say one without the other, because then you have to have my whole natal chart, and I don't think that it's actually interesting for you. I think what's interesting for you is to know your own natal chart and get some perspective of that, of what that is having an influence in your daily life, and how you are keeping yourself stuck in those negative cycles that you are having, and where the solution actually is. And what I've found that the solution is go to my Chiron placement. And the Chiron asteroid is actually popularly called the wounded healer. And he is the one that, well, he can heal everybody around him, but his deepest wound himself he can't heal. So what can he do? He can either sit back and be the victim of, yeah, well, there's nothing that can be done, or he can be proactive and responsible for his own healing, because he can go out and help others heal their wounds. And when he's helping others healing their wounds, him being the wounded healer, he's also healing himself. But with the knowledge of he cannot fully heal, not 100%. So I'll get back to the Chiron, but just to give it some perspective in a much larger sense here, that is actually why we need each other. Not as a relationship for marriage or lovers or friends or co-workers or whatever, but we need each other to really start healing our deepest wounds. And in the knowledge that we can't really heal our deepest wounds completely, but we have to take the steps on the journey towards it and start helping others from the knowledge and the lessons that we've gained from our wounds and from the healing of it. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So, back to Chiron. Where your Chiron is placed in your natal chart, it says a lot about your core wound. So maybe you could go to AstroDienst or AstroSeek or whatever website that you prefer to put your natal information into. Maybe it's worth a go, having a look into it. For me, I have my Chiron in the 12th house, in Aries. And that actually means that I'm wounded in my spirituality. And what does that mean? Well, it means that at least that is my perspective for this time in my life, is that I have to find the connection to me. Find the source of light inside me, not outside. I attended school in a Catholic school in the country I was brought up in, and I don't think I was more than 8 or 9 maybe, and we went to church because, yeah, it was a Catholic school, and we went to church. And one of my classmates passed out on the church floor. And I had this feeling inside me. I remember it clearly, like it was yesterday, and this is actually quite some years ago. I remember really knowing, this profound knowing of, you know what? God is not going to save me. God is not going to save anybody, because if he can allow that to happen, an innocent boy of 8 years old, to allow him to collapse, he's not going to save us. No, absolutely not. But I think I have a lesson here too, and I knew that when I was so young. I think there's a lesson here in learning to connect to the energy of the universe, of what is bigger than me, what is outside of me, but I have to go look within for my healing and my well-being and my source of love and light. I knew that. So many years later, I found myself in the group of really spiritual people, and I thought to myself, well, now it's time to learn what spirituality really is. And I was right at that point, but the lesson was really hard. The lesson was really hard on where my source really is. Because, as I mentioned in part 2, religion is something outside of you telling you what to do and how to heal. And that is actually also my big take on the therapeutic world. They are, well, some of them are good, but many of them are coming from their own wounded self, because they are trying to heal the world through helping others. But energetically, there's still some kind of trying to tell you what to do. And many of us, we are so suppressed in the energy of society and our community that we allow our therapist or doctor or whatever healer we go to be the authority, and then just listen and doing blindly. So back to Chiron in the 12th house, and I think I'll do a little series sometime, but not for this teaching series here, on what the Chiron actually mean in the different houses. I think that could be necessary, but put it in the comment if you agree with me or have other viewpoints on that, okay? Yeah, so I needed to find my own love, my own love for me, because I didn't really know or felt that I was connected. I always felt that I had to be there for somebody else. I had to be the battery for others. I had to be the emotional support system for others. Also, my family and friends, and I didn't mind that, because I felt that I was valuable in that part, but I never really felt that I was valuable just by being me. I repeat that. When you are not feeling valuable for just being you, no matter what you are and who you are and what you do and what you don't do, you tend to listen a lot to other people's acknowledgments and approval. You don't really listen to yourself. Even though there's a gut feeling telling you, well, don't do that. Don't date that guy. Don't invite him into your life. Don't marry that woman. Whatever it is. You don't listen to it because, well, you have all these outside voices telling you, well, this is good for you, and yeah, you're good, and when are you going to marry? It's about time, and you're getting 30, or whatever age you're getting, and everybody else think to know, or seems to know, what is right for you. That is part of the core wound having Chiron in the 12th house. And having Chiron in Aries also, and Aries being the initiator, and well, he's ruled by Mars, right? So he's the big warlord. Well, he really fights for what he believes in, but having Chiron in the 12th house in Aries was like having a warlord fighting for everybody else but me, because I couldn't find the connection to me. And when I went to religion, when I went to Christianity, or by school, or by society beliefs in general, I was always led by the outside world. You can't heal your wounds. You can't heal your core wounds from anybody else telling you what to do and what is right for you, and allowing your disconnect from you. You can't do that. So if you're listening to this or watching this video, and you are not aware of any wounds that you have, you just find this simply interesting in some kind, just have a look at your natal chart and look for your Chiron placement. And then start from there. And then just know that you are so much more than what you have been taught to believe that you are. And just sit with it. And when you have been in that knowledge long enough, maybe you'll find a leap of faith to take it to the next level. The next level of healing being limitless love. And we'll take a look at that in the next chapter. See you then. Take care. Bye.